Yo guys, what's up? Welcome to this Nothing Like a Power Ranger video. Today we're going to be unboxing the entire Lightning Collection team of Power Rangers Dino Thunder.
This set includes the Dino Thunder Red Ranger, Conor McNight, the Dino Thunder Blue Ranger, Ethan James, the Dino Thunder Yellow Ranger, Kira Ford, the Dino Thunder White Ranger, Trent Fernandez, the Dino Thunder Black Ranger, Tommy Oliver, and Mezagog or Anton Mercer. The first Ranger is Dino Thunder Red, Conor McNight. He was released in the 7th wave of the Lightning Collection in December 2020. Here he is out of the box, and he looks really good. I'm only noticing a couple of paint problems, especially up on the visor rim where the silver seeps onto the red a little bit, and then the silver also seeps onto the black a little bit. But not too noticeable, and it looks really good. Here we have his hands, which I absolutely love. I love how the white's on the back of them. One is a kind of like grabbing hand, and then the other one is kind of a pointing hand with 2 fingers. Here we have his blaster. It looks really good. It's pretty simple, but there's enough paint on it to really get the job done, and the Dino Thunder symbol is on the handle. Here we have the head sculpt, and I can't really say that this looks like the actor. I mean, it resembles him enough, but it just doesn't really look like him. Here we have the sword, which is pretty much the same concept as the blaster. It doesn't have too much detail, but it has enough to work, and again, we have the same Dino Thunder symbol on the handle. Here we have his effect piece, which looks super cool. This is absolutely one of my favorites, just because of the color of the orange and the way that it kind of flows. But yeah, a very cool piece. Here we have the final accessory for the figure, and it is actually his staff, which again, kind of like the blaster, doesn't have a ton of paint, but I think it still actually looks really cool, and I really like this piece. Next, we have the Dino Thunder Blue Ranger, Ethan James. This was released in the 8th wave of the Lightning Collection in April 2021. Here he is out of the box, and I think he looks great. I'm actually not seeing any paint problems on him at all. One thing that I am kind of noticing with the Dino Thunder Rangers so far is that with the white patches on their arms and legs, the pegs inside of their joints are actually still blue, even though the parts are white, which makes total sense. I understand that, but it does pop out, and it is a little bit distracting. Here are his hands, and there's a pretty clear downgrade here where the back of his hands are not white like the Red Rangers, which is annoying. It's not the biggest deal, but it was a really cool thing when they were like that. Here we have his blaster, and again we've lost more paint detail. This time it's the gold on the tip of the blaster. It still looks perfectly fine, but it was obviously better with the gold. Here we have his sword, which looks good, but again it's missing the gold. Here we have his head sculpt, which looks good in some ways, but it doesn't really look like the actor. Like, I'm not seeing him in it at all. It still looks good though, and it will work, I'm sure, especially at a far distance. Here we have his effect piece, which is a very cool light blue color, and it looks good. And the last accessory for this figure is his power weapon, his shield. This is a really cool piece. I really love the way that this looks. It's a little bit big in my opinion. I know that it is actually pretty close to the real size, but it is a little bit wonky. It kind of stops him from being able to stand up when he's holding it. Also in the back, as you can see here, there's a gold pin, and that lets you have it out farther, or you can pull it back in. Next, we have the Dino Thunder Yellow Ranger, Kira Ford. This was released in the 12th wave of the Lightning Collection in December 2022. Here the figure is out of the box, and it looks great. I'm not seeing any paint problems, which is always good. Another really great thing about this figure is that because it is specifically a female figure, they actually don't have pegs on their arms and legs, so the white diamonds don't have a little yellow spot in them or whatever the color is for the Rangers. And I'm actually kind of now wondering why they don't do that for the male figures. Here we have the hands, and again, there's no white on the back of them, which was expected, but still kind of a miss out. Now onto the effect piece, which I really like this light blue. It's kind of a lighter blue than the normal light blue, and I think it looks more watery, which is cool. Now onto the blaster, which actually has more silver on it than the other two, as well as having a different color silver on it. Again though, there is no gold on the tip. Now onto her power weapon, which looks really good. There isn't too much paint detail, but I can't really remember if there was in the show either, but still, it looks really good. Next we have the Dino Thunder Black Ranger, Tommy Oliver, who was released in the 14th wave of the Lightning Collection in June 2023. Here we have the figure out of the box, and he looks really good. There's only a couple of paint problems, including the helmet where part of the gold visor rim has kind of moved off of where it's supposed to be, causing there to be a little black area where the line should be, which is not too noticeable, but I do notice it, so it's a little bit annoying. Here are the hands, and again, there's no paint on the back of them. This time it would be gold because it is the Black Ranger. Either way, they look good. You know, you get a fist and then another sort of, I guess, grabbing hand. I'm not really sure how to describe that. Here we have the head sculpt, and it's probably one of the worst I've ever seen. It looks almost nothing like Tommy Oliver. fur, it has the hair a little bit, but it just really doesn't look like him. Here we have the Brachiostaff, and it is bent because of these new boxes, which are terrible. They don't keep the shape nicely for the swords and weapons, and this is what happens because of that. Other than it being bent, it doesn't have too much paint, but it still looks pretty cool. Here we have his effect piece, which is the same one that came with the Blue Ranger. It's just in a different color. I'm not mad about that though. It's not really a problem for me. It's a pretty cool piece. Next is the Dino Thunder White Ranger Trent Fernandez, who was released as a Walgreens exclusive in September 2020. Here he is out of the box, and he looks great. There's only a couple of paint problems. You can see one on his chest. There's a little bit of black there in the center for some reason. I'm not sure where that would have seeped over from. But other than that, I'm not really seeing too many problems, which I'm really happy about. As you can see, though, I already replaced the helmet with the replacement version. Here we have his hands, and I really love the hand on the left because it reminds me of when he used to push his helmet up with his hand, or maybe even when he used to pull his glove down. Here we have the head sculpt, and I really don't see the actor in this one. The hair is pretty good. It's not exact, but it works. And so does the head, but it just doesn't look exactly right. Here we have the Drago sword, and it has like no paint on it. I think it would have looked way cooler if it had had some black on it. It still does look cool, and it definitely does the job. Here we have the final accessory to this figure, and it is the effect piece. This is actually a different color on the box. It's a little bit more red, but it's actually yellow in the show, so I'm glad that they had it more yellow with the actual piece. Either way though, it's a super unique piece, and I really like the way that it looks. Mine is a little bit bent, which is unfortunate, but it's not the biggest deal. Here we have the final figure of the set, and the only figure that is not a Ranger. This is Mezagog, or Anton Mercer, who was released in the 14th wave alongside the Dino Thunder Black Ranger in June 2023. Here he is out of the box, and he looks great. This is absolutely one of my favorite villain figures, and actually one of my favorite villains throughout all of Power Rangers. I think he just looks so cool and so villainous. I think he's one of the most realistic ones that they've ever had in Power Rangers. So yeah, a really cool figure, and I'm not seeing any paint problems. Here we have his hands, which I think are really cool because they have 3 fingers. And actually something to note is that the other hands did have red on the nails, or the claws, which I assume is because they're kind of behind each other, and I think they would be pretty hard to paint. Here we have his first effect piece, which is really cool because I think it's exclusive to him. Here we have the second effect piece, which we've actually gotten something similar before, I think in a different color though, but also this one is different and only works with Mesogog because his hand is the only hand that can slot into the back of it, which is really cool. Okay guys, that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, consider subscribing because I make a lot of videos like this. And if you want to see where I got the majority of these figures, you can check out this haul video right here. That should be popping up soon. Either way, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.
I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up!